You two are going to be in a room alone with Kim, and the CIA would love it if you could take him out. Take him out.
For coffee? Dinner? For kimchi?
No, take him out.
You want us to kill the leader of North Korea?
Yes.
What?
The terrorists have won. Sony Pictures has canceled not only the premiere in New York City of the movie The Interview, but in the wake of threats and a major cyber attack, the company has pulled the plug on the movie completely. This comes after most theater chains decided not to show due to threats of a 9/11 type attack from hackers. It's believed North Korea is behind the threats. Gavin McInnes is a writer at truthrevolt.org. He's got a column up saying this is all about surrender. He joins us from New York. Gavin, is this a complete capitulation by Sony and major theater chains across North America?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I'm glad you used that word. I mean, it wasn't a word that was very common even 10, 20 years ago, but now all we seem to do is surrender. And we don't know, by the way, that this was North Korea. The evidence of that is flimsy. This could just be hackers having some fun. And what do? We drop to our knees.
The fact is that some people have said, well, look, what do you expect? This was a movie portraying the killing of a world leader. But this is something that has been portrayed in movies before, including, not that long ago, to great accolades in Toronto with George W. Bush getting killed.
Right. And Team America World Police killed Kim Jong-il. I mean, this is what movies are. And we've already been capitulating with villains. There was that Tom Clancy movie where they changed the bad guys from Palestinian terrorists to European neo-Nazis. How many times have you seen a scary movie where the bad guy is French or some sort of evil European? So we're already kowtowing to them, but then it's not good enough, and maybe North Korea is offended, so we throw hundreds of millions of dollars down the toilet.
I'm not sure what Sony's going to do with this. Let me read from their statement on this, and then I'll ask you about it. But here's the statement. Sony Pictures says, we're deeply saddened at this brazen effort to suppress the distribution of a movie and in the process do damage to our company, our employees, and the American public. We stand by our filmmakers and their right to free expression, are extremely disappointed by this outcome. They almost had no choice because no theaters were willing to show the movie. I think that if they put this on demand, and just people could pay $4.99 and hit yes on their remote control, that this movie would do great over the Christmas break, because I know that I would watch it, and I had no intention of going to see this movie in the theaters.
Yeah, it looks pretty bad. It's just a bunch of guys riffing inside jokes with each other. And on demand is definitely the way to go with this. But I feel like even that's capitulation. I don't care if the theaters are empty. I don't care if no one goes. It's like 9/11. I wish they built the World Trade Center back up again, and I don't care if it remains unoccupied. We can't give in to this. As soon as you give in to their demands, it's like Islam. They just make more demands and more demands.
Why do you think that that people are willing to believe this strange threat? Because the threat's written in bad English. It only says stay away from these places at this time. Nobody knows who's really behind it. If it is North Korea, I don't think they have the ability to do it. And if it's not North Korea, then we just don't know who it is. Yeah, how are they going to target all these theaters? Thousands, literally thousands of theaters. I think it probably would have opened in, what, 2,500 to 3,000 screens across the continent.
Yes, it would have been huge. I mean, it's an $80 million movie. Sony, when you combine the hacks, has lost $200 million. The money's down the drain. Stand up and fight. Get security at the cinemas. Put up billboards that say, if you enter, it's at your own discretion. You know, after the Batman shooting, we kept the movie there, and there was a bunch of lawsuits that were thrown out, and people pursued it. They do have a choice, and they should put that in theaters. And the fact that we have capitulated...
But in fairness to Sony, if the movie chains like Cineplex, like Regal, and so on, if they won't let it in, you know, what are they going to do? Put up a sheet in Times Square and project it onto that? That would be their only option.
No, I think it's still showing in Toronto. I saw a billboard in Toronto on Twitter. You obviously can't force theaters to take it, but you make it available to as many theaters as possible. And I blame political correctness. It's made us so scared of offending that now it's affecting our global policies and $100 million in corporate losses. That's how scared we are.
The hacks on Sony are devastating to the company. When the hacks were on the American government and their diplomatic secrets were shared around the world, people kind of cheered and said, hey, look, we know what's going on. When Edward Snowden released the NSA documents, same reaction. Do you think it'll be the same now that it's a private company being hacked, their movies threatened, scripts stolen, the Bond script's been stolen, all these personal emails dumped out there, and threats of more to come? Do you think the reaction of the public to these ongoing hacks will change the viewpoint?
No. The mainstream media is the worst it's ever been. It's the laziest. All they do is Google and check Twitter. So now that Sony has hired lawyers to threaten the media, they are going to do their own form of capitulation and sugarcoat stories and avoid the story because they're scared of getting sued. Because not only are Sony wimps, but the MSM, the mainstream media journalists, are even bigger wimps.
All right. I want to play, before we go, I want to play a clip of streeters in Toronto, people reacting to the decision to cancel the movie, and then get your quick reaction. Roll tape.
I think they're giving in to terrorism, cyber terrorism, and that sets a very dangerous precedent.
A lot of nutcases out there, so I would not be showing that right now in these days.
I think we're taking caution to the threats and keeping everybody safe, as opposed to, you know, giving in to the terrorists.
All right, so that last guy doesn't look like a lawyer, but it's kind of a lawyerly response. Let's be cautious.
Yeah, like right now we're at a point where North Korea is telling us what movies we can watch, and it's even worse than that. We're assuming that North Korea is telling us what movies we can watch. They haven't even made a formal statement.
All right, Gavin, great talking to you. We'll chat soon.
Cheers.
Right, share your feedback on this. Facebook.com/Brian Lilly. It's one of the places you can get a hold of us. More to come.